It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi amidst chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai and Vande Mataram. He was at the Adampur Air Base station in Punjab earlier this morning. He delivered that address to the soldiers earlier this morning. In his address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed first the bravery of the soldiers, of the air warriors in particular. He said there was a remarkable coordination with which all arms of India's defence forces, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, as well as the BSF operated to take forward Operation Sindoor. The success of Operation Sindoor, Prime Minister said, has left a new mark and made history in the manner in which we fight terrorism and take on the adversary. Prime Minister reiterated three important points that he also mentioned earlier in his address to the nation. The first point, of course, was that India now is going to decide the manner in which it's going to take a decisive action if any more terror attacks take place in the future. Second, nuclear blackmail, something that the opponent Pakistan often resorts to, will not work against India. And third, the terrorists and the nations, the governments that support terrorists will not be seen as separate entities but one, and the actions therefore will also follow accordingly. Any terror attack will mean a declaration of war by the opponent. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his address also spoke about the manner in which the latest technology was used to its full potential by the Air Force, by the Army, by the Navy, as well as the BSF, and the great coordination that the forces operated with. In his address, Prime Minister also mentioned that Pakistan is getting sleepless nights with the manner in which India responded to the dastardly Pahalgam terror attack. Innocents were massacred on 22nd April when Indian tourists on the basis of religion were attacked and killed by terrorists. In response, India initiated Operation Sindoor, and the success of Operation Sindoor, according to Prime Minister, sent a loud and clear message to the opponent with the manner in which India will now act against acts of terror. Prime Minister also mentioned the great significance of the Adampur Air Base, in particular, one of the bases in the border regions which were targeted by Pakistan, but those attacks were futile given the superior air defense technology and systems that India put to use with. And Prime Minister also quoted Guru Gobind Singh, he quoted Maharana Pratap. He said that India is the land of Buddha, it wants peace, but it also knows how to rise up to the occasion and challenge. Giving examples of Guru Gobind Singh and Maharana Pratap, Prime Minister said that India knows the manner in which to give a befitting reply to enemy when challenged. Prime Minister in his address also referred to those moments of the conflict when civil aircrafts were used as shield by Pakistan. And two eminent guests are now joining me to take forward the conversation. Let me welcome retired Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director, India Foundation, and Praful Ketkar, Editor, Organizer. If I can first come to you, General Dhruv Katoch, Prime Minister's address after the address to the nation. Now he speaks directly to India's brave soldiers, making India's point loud and clear. A new red line has been drawn with Operation Sindoor. General Katoch.
I think a new red line has been drawn. It was very noticeable as far as the Prime Minister's address was concerned. The way he praised the armed forces, the Air Force, the Navy, and the Army, and the way he said that the entire Operation Sindoor, was coordinated. I think, for all the soldiers who have been watching this program or who will watch it later, they will look back with pride at their Prime Minister. But I think most importantly, Shubhendu, what has happened is he has once again reiterated what now people will call the Modi Doctrine. Op Sindoor has led to the Modi Doctrine on those three very fundamental points. One, any act of terror against India will be responded to at a time and place of our choosing. I think that is a very, very significant statement. Number two, we will not be cowed down by a nuclear threat. And number three, it is not simply the man who presses the trigger, but their sponsors too. So if a neighboring country's army is sponsoring it or the political authorities are giving support, they are genuine targets. It will be treated as an act of war. Now, saying this is being repeated now in front of armed forces personnel, it becomes a doctrine. And I think it's very, very important. It is a defining moment for India's armed forces. It is a defining moment for the nation. And I think all the people who are adverse to India, who are hostile to India, who are the enemies of India, please sit up, take notice, because when the time comes, we will act. Tuvendu.
Right. Praful Ketkar, if I can come to you, how do you read the symbolic significance and also the address that Prime Minister delivers at Adampur Air Base just a couple of days after the cessation of military action?
Yeah, this is a very important message that Prime Minister has given, simply because this is the same airport that DGMO Pakistan had shown as being hit by the Pakistani airport. So it is Prime Minister Modi is not just a great communicator, he is also a master planner. As a leader, he went to the soldiers and he said, we are proud of you as a nation, we are proud of you. And somebody like Prime Minister going there and telling the soldiers that, these words really count. But more important than that, the international propaganda that Pakistan tried to play around this airbase has been busted even without uttering a word about it. That is the way it should be done. That is the way communication has to be done. And in that sense, I believe that this his visit to Adampur Air Base, he talking about Guru Gobind Singh there, and he talking about the entire technological advancement, the military objectives that have achieved through Operation Sindoor is a very, very significant message that Prime Minister has given.
Right. General Katoch, when Prime Minister says that India's armed forces have made history, now there have been many conflicts, direct conflicts with Pakistan. What, according to you, makes Operation Sindoor so remarkably special?
I think the aim was I think the aim was very clear. That that this he had said it, I think, on the 24th of April in Bihar, where he said that the people who have perpetrated this, we will take action against them. The aim was set. And very clearly he spelled it out, the aim will be against the terrorists who organized it. So, and that aim was achieved.
And the backers, sir.
That aim was achieved quickly. Now, after that, I think, this very significant thing happened is Pakistan escalated. And in 48 hours, in two escalations of Pakistan, their air force was practically decimated. Not in terms of combat aircraft or something, but in terms of their ability to wage war. And we had the Pakistanis crying for peace, where the DGMO came running to our DGMO and literally begged for a ceasefire, which Prime Minister Modi was gracious enough to give. Let's be frank. I think, when it's a bit too early to tell now exactly what happened, but this is going to be studied in military history lessons, not just in India, but all across the world, as to how power can be delivered in different facets. This was a show of how power is delivered and how attacks can be prevented. I don't think anybody in the world could have thought that India could have, hundreds of drones are coming at you, missiles are coming at you, but you've got such a coordinated air defense, AI generated, all coordinated across the length and breadth of the country, and 100% success achieved. Which country has done that so far? So I think it's been a remarkable achievement. So far, only Israel was known for its Iron Dome. I think India will also be known now for its Iron Dome, and it is a home-driven technology. Yes, we did have the S-400 from the Russians, but a large part of the system integration has taken place by our own technology, by our own scientists, and I think that is a remarkable achievement. So, as a showcase of force, as a showcase of achievement of aim, there are many lessons which are going to come out from this. From Operation Sindoor, and I think the first book is going to come out within the next 3 to 4 months. Perhaps there'll be a film on it by the end of the year. But Sindoor is a game changer, both for India and the world.
But I guess we are in the moment. As for now, General Dhruv Katoch, let me also turn to my colleague Akshay Dongre, who's been tracking Prime Minister's travel. He's in New Delhi for now. Akshay, if you could take us through the details of Prime Minister's engagement with the security forces. His speech, of course, we just heard.
you have to find out three key takeaways from this entire speech. They are going to be, and they have been spelled by the Prime Minister. First was that India will not be will not be taking any more the nuclear bluff of Pakistan that they have been doing for far too long. Second was also about the statement that has been given by the government of India that any act of terror will be considered an act of war. And the third is that India will not be seeing terrorists and their enabling government differently, which means that any enabling government will be considered a terrorist only. So in a way, and I think my guests and even you would agree with me, what India has done is the monumental shift in the policy anywhere in the world against terrorism. We have seen that the US did it, but US did it against much smaller country. We have seen every action that US has taken. It has never been against a very strong country or a very wealthy country. There have been, economies like Iraq. There have been economies like Libya. While they were oil rich, didn't have that much prosperity or, for that matter, military capabilities like what Pakistan has. But India being a smaller force when it comes to firepower than the US, they're technologically a bit ahead of us. But the way we have dealt with the entire situation, facing an adversary like Pakistan and dealing such a huge blow without any retaliation being successful of Pakistan is in fact a major point in history when it comes to warfare. It will be taught in schools how India has dealt with this problem, and the world will be now following India's example in dealing with terrorism, because the entire Europe is dealing with terrorism. We have Africa dealing with terrorism. We have US dealing with terrorism. Almost every country is dealing with terrorism, and some of the most notorious countries that are funding it is Pakistan, and most of the routes are followed back to Pakistan. It has become a stereotype for Pakistan as well abroad. So India has taken a strong step, and the world is inspired by the step that PM Modi has taken along with our armed forces.
Right, Akshay, stay with us. Praful, if I can come to you. Also, Prime Minister being among the security forces with the air warriors in Punjab, a special way he connects the sentiments of the civilians of the country with the security forces when he says that it's very special how the forces, their operation has united the nation.
See, first time we have seen the jointness. Since Kargil War, we have been talking about the combined defense, service and the way CDS was created. And the first time we have actually seen the kind of coordination we had with our Air Force, Army and Navy. And those coordinated efforts, though Navy was directly not in action, it actually controlled the entire operations in the water. Air Force gave air cover, as Prime Minister talked about, and on the borders, it is the Army that was fighting it hard. BSF was also involved there. So this jointness definitely was visible. This coordinated effort was visible, and that actually, and as Prime Minister said, it is not only the manpower, it is machine power. So man-machine coordination and inter-service coordination, all the things were in place, and that really proved the results when it comes to Operation Sindoor.
Right. General Dhruv Katoch, also the things that were not said but represented. It was electric when chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Vande Mataram were being taken up. As a soldier, sir, help us understand the sentiment that one feels when you have the Prime Minister among you and bringing the sentiment of the nation to you and complimenting for the work that you've done, the operation that you've undertaken successfully. What goes through the mind of the soldier?
Yeah, just at a much lower level, at the unit level, you have your own war cries and battle cries, and
Yes.
When you win a sports competition, you get all gung-ho. It really motivates people. Now you just jump that up right up to the Prime Minister's level, at the apex level of government. Now see that impact. And it is not simply those the air warriors who are there. Because these images are going to go across the armed forces.
Yes.
They're going to go across the nation. And I think it is very, very motivating. Of course, this is not the first time the Prime Minister has done it. On occasion like Diwali and all that, he is always in the forward areas. Either he'll be in the snowbound areas or in the jungles or somewhere. He's with the troops. And, that motivation takes place there. But this one, I think, has been special. This one has come after a very specific operation targeted to give solace to those, to a very wounded India, I will say, after that horrific attack of 22nd of April. Every Indian felt outraged with that barbarity carried out by these people, and we wanted answers. And this answer was given on the 7th of April, night of 6th, 7th April, 6th, 7th May. That answer is what resounds with the people. And that is what, when the Prime Minister is now speaking at Adampur, multiple messages are going. Firstly, Pakistan was also saying that they have destroyed Adampur. Well, the Prime Minister there in Adampur, right, and there's no destruction. He didn't have to say so. I think the world is watching. So, it is something real great. And that connect between the Prime Minister and the armed forces automatically makes it a connect between the armed forces and the people of India. An army only fights with the support of the people. Take away that support, it is simply, simply a machine without a heart. So with public support, anything is possible. With the nation behind you, the armies, the armed forces will create miracles. Shubhendu.
And so when we talk about the new red lines that have been drawn, one point that has been made, and I think it's made because it's hugely significant, that nuclear blackmail is not going to work. In the past, we've seen the manner in which one point that would come to the adversary, Pakistan, is that we're a nuclear state, don't mess with us. But the message that had been sent across through Operation Sindoor is that nuclear or no nuclear, India will go after the terror hubs.
I think this is a very significant message. It has never been given with such clarity earlier. I just want to give you a few examples.
Yes.
In 2016, before we carried out the surgical strikes, that was post the Uri attacks, and we, the nation said we have to do something about it. I heard one of the Pakistani ministers say, and because there was a statement being made that we had carried out a surgical strike in Myanmar. So that minister made a statement. He said, I want to tell the government of India, we are not Myanmar and we have the atom bomb. Well, when we did the surgical strike, we showed him what his atom bomb meant. That was the first time when we called the nuclear bluff. The second time we called the nuclear bluff was in Balakot, when we went deep inside Pakistan and then bombed those shelters, bombed the hideout of the terrorists. But this time it is different. This time it has gone over and above anything. We have gone inside their heartland, Punjab. We have gone on multiple targets in Punjab. And after that, we have actually taken out on the next 2 nights a very large part of the military. And they could do nothing about it. And we declared it. Now this declaration has come. We will not be cowed down by nuclear threats. We also, I think it is also important for your viewers to understand, India has a nuclear doctrine of no first use. We won't use it first, true. But the second paragraph of that same nuclear doctrine states, should anybody use nuclear weapons against us, we will retaliate with massive force. Massive. So it is not going to be proportionate that if they throw a bomb, we'll throw a bomb or two. They throw a bomb, we'll decimate them. That message has also gone to Pakistan. So let not people get wrong ideas. Nuclear warfare is not a game which children play. It is a very, very serious matter. We have taken a call. We will not use nuclear weapons first, but the call which the Prime Minister has given is we will not be deterred by nuclear threats. And I think that has gone across very well. I'll be very pleased now if none of those Pakistani ministers or anybody else starts talking nonsense as far as nuclear warfare is concerned, as if it is a game which they are playing on the keyboard.
Right.
These are very, very serious affairs, and nuclear weapons are weapons of deterrence and not weapons of use. That has come out very clearly in the PM's message, and in future we will not be cowed down by nuclear blackmail.
We'll have to wait and watch out for that, sir. Let me again go across to my colleague Akshay Dongre, who's kept a close eye on Prime Minister's visit to Adampur Air Base in Punjab. Akshay, if you could take us through the details of Prime Minister's visit to the Adampur Air Base. Speech, of course, we're talking about, but the particular details of his visit and engagement with the armed forces this morning.
Well, most of it remains confidential, Shubhendu, because Prime Minister himself, in such a hot, tensed time, going to a forward area going to the very base that Pakistan claimed of destroying completely all of their ministers, ISPR, all of them going and talking about it. Clearly, this was a very, very daring visit for the Prime Minister because of simply the threat perception, Shubhendu. And him going there says a lot about India's confidence in India's offensive as well as defensive capabilities. What Prime Minister has said about the air defense systems is not just a bluff, something that Pakistan does. It is clearly a messaging that if I am the Prime Minister, the head of the government, and I myself can go to the front line, to the base where you tried attacking, it was one of the bases which was hit as well, but there was minimum to no damage to the major part of the Adampur air base. It was a failed attempt in many sorts, but Prime Minister himself going there was a very, very daring and in fact a very classified visit. So all we know is the fact that he went in the morning, he met the soldiers, he spoke with them, he congratulated them, and obviously we have all heard about the speech that he has given. It's also it's enough to give Pakistan a chill in its spine to know that the Prime Minister himself went to the frontline base that is not very far away from the Pakistani borders. Give such a stern message about terrorism, stern message about Pakistan's involvement and the plans that India has for future. A lot has been said, a lot has been spoken about the duty that soldiers have given, but a message is very, very clear that neither the nuclear bluff nor any kind of terror activity, no attempt to meddle with India's sovereignty or integrity will be tolerated at any cost. And this is just a small halt in Operation Sindoor and armed activities or armed attacks that were happening by the armed forces inside Pakistan. And if we want to, we can hit Pakistan anywhere we want, any place we want, whenever we want to. That has been demonstrated, and further enhancing of our air defense system will be done as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given so much of focus to drones and air defense systems that have not only protected the country but have also thwarted any attempts by such a large force to even get inside the country. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Right, we'll take forward this conversation, but let's again turn to what Prime Minister had said about how a strong defense cover has become a new identity of India.
पाकिस्तान की लाख कोशिश के बाद भी हमारे एयरबेस हो या फिर हमारे दूसरे डिफेंस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इन पर आंच तक नहीं आई और इसका श्रेय आप सभी को जाता है और मुझे गर्व है आप सब। बॉर्डर पर तैनात हर सैनिक को जाता है। इस ऑपरेशन से जुड़े हर व्यक्ति को उसका श्रेय जाता है। साथियों, आज हमारे पास नई और कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजी का ऐसा सामर्थ्य है जिसका पाकिस्तान मुकाबला नहीं कर सकता।
We're talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address that was delivered at Adampur Air Base in Punjab. Prime Minister visited the air base this morning and engaged with the security forces. The retired Major General Dhruv Katoch continues to be with us. Sir, if I can come to you, talking about India's defense preparedness, it was interesting to see also that fighter aircraft and S-400 parked while Prime Minister was delivering his address and engaging with the security forces. That has also really been in spotlight. India's defense preparedness, whether we talk about offensive or perhaps more importantly, defensive.
Actually, this defenses, I think, was a vital part of the entire operation conducted over 72 to 96 hours, because that really set the tone of what is going to happen. After we knocked out those 9 terrorist headquarters and establishments, we knew that a counterattack, that the Pakistanis will counterattack regardless of anything. They have to show face to their own people. And they did carry out these attacks. But I think we were totally prepared for that. And I would like to inform the people, it was not just over the entire land mass, our entire land border with Pakistan. This cover was also across the oceans, across the Western Ocean.
Yes.
And I think that is very important to remember, because our Navy was there. And they were in a position to intercept any missile which would have been launched from there onto the mainland. So it was a very effective cover given, and was a threat in being. So it has been well coordinated. There were different levels. We have those man-held system, the man pads, which have got a range of just a kilometer or two. Then we have got the guns, the L-70s and other equipment, which can take care of shorter targets. And then, of course, you get onto the missiles, 35 kilometers, the missiles at 70 kilometers. And then you have the S-400s, which has got which can take on targets up to 400 kilometers. So this coverage was immense, and every inch of the landmass was covered to prevent ingress. And not only was it just covered, it was coordinated. That means there was through AI-generated pics from satellites, communication, etc., everything was coordinated. So we had our sensors and we had our equipment on the ground. So any threat which was coming, we could track it and then disable it. It worked, because 100% on the very first day we achieved 100% success. They were not in a position to hit a single military target. And on the second day also, they were not in a position to hit a military target. Yes, they did manage to hit a few houses, a few civilian areas. We had civilian casualties. They hit a Gurdwara, etc. So those casualties did take place. But in what they wished to achieve, I think the Pakistani failure rate was close to 100%, and our success rate was 100%. Tuvendu.
Right. On that note, thank you very much, General Dhruv Katoch, for joining us in this conversation. Thank you also to Akshay for joining us with those inputs. We were talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address to the security forces at Adampur Air Base, but also to India soldiers all over the country. Thank you very much to both of you for joining us in this special presentation.